All right, hi guys. We are going to learn how to do a PCV and a total protein. So we're going to go up and draw blood from Casey. So I have some syringes here. I have my needles. I have the purple top blood tube. So this is also called a lavender top or a purple top. And it has EDTA in it, and it helps to keep the blood from clotting. Here's our blood rocker. So after I get the blood, we'll set it on the rocker. I have some alcohol 4x4s because I'll wipe Casey's neck off before I draw blood. Here is a stand so that I can put the tubes in the stand when I'm not using them so I don't spill them. Here are my hematocrit tubes. These are glass tubes that we use, and they're brand new, so I need to take that out. But these are the hematocrit tubes that we use. Again, they're glass, so just be careful, and I'll show you how to use them properly. I have my PCV reader, so pack cell volume, PCV, pack cell volume. I have our seal ease, so we'll put that at the end of the hematocrit tube. I have the refractometer that we're going to use. We have two different refractometers. They all work the same. The only other thing I need is the centrifuge, and that's in the AI lab room, and blood. Oh, and chem wipes. So chem wipes to help wipe off and clean up things. So, all right. Now, all right. So this is Casey. She does have this weird little indent here with her muscle. It must have, I don't know, been an injury or something from a while ago. So I do use the 4x4 to wipe off where the jugular vein is in the jugular groove, and I'm going to hold off for you so you can see the jugular vein fill up. So I hold off. I have 4 fingers on the other side, my thumb here. Thanks for touching it. Oh, you never want to touch it after you wipe it off. So I'm going to hold off, let the vein fill up, and then you should be able to see it go down. So watch. Oh, did you see it go down right here? I'm going to do it again. Let the vein fill up. And then I'm going to let it go. And so it's going to go down. Did you see where it was? All right. And then you have the syringe. You always want to break the seal here. So you pull down on the plunger and pull back before you draw blood. And then I'm going to get a needle out. So this is a 20 gauge 1.5 inch needle that we're going to use. So you take off the cap and you put the needle on. All right, so usually you have somebody hold the horse and then somebody draws the blood. Casey's pretty good. So we go bevel up. So the opening of the needle is the bevel. So you do bevel up. All right, so I'm going to hold off on my vein, my jugular vein right here, until it distends. Let it go down so I can see where it is. Hold off again. And then you just go in at a 45-degree angle. Ho, ho, ho. Good girl. And then you just draw back nice and gently. You want to make sure that it's a smooth motion. You don't want to pull too hard because you can lyse the red blood cells, so actually slice them. So lyse means to slice the red blood cells, so I'm pulling awfully slow, filling up the whole syringe, and then I hold off, and there I have my blood. So I'm holding off where I had stuck the jugular vein. That looks good. She doesn't have a hematoma. That's always nice. And then we're going to go ahead and fill up our tube of blood Now these are called vacutainer tubes. So watch how it pulls the blood in. So I put it in. I'm not pushing down on the plunger. That could also lyse the red blood cells. It pulls in as much blood as it needs in that tube. When it stops, you bring it out and you invert it. You rock it back and forth. Never shake it, just rock it back and forth. Back to the classroom where we'll run our PCV and total. I have put our blood on the rocker, and you always want to label your blood. So I label it with a K and a C because that's how you spell KC. You always want to keep your lab space clean and clean up after yourselves. So when we do these hematocrit tubes, we work in twos. So you always want to do two. One in case one breaks. Two in case you don't have enough plasma for the refractometer. And three so that you can double check and kind of average out your PCV. So you just kind of shake it like a salt and pepper shaker here to get out two of the glass tubes. All right, so here's Casey's blood, and you take the purple top tube and you kind of squeeze and twist off. And then you want to grab one of your hematocrit tubes. I always put kind of my finger over the end here. And then you place it into the blood tube, and you want to kind of keep it horizontal and let the blood come up about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way. So, and then you put your finger over top of it. I'm setting this down here so I don't spill it. I give a quick wipe, keeping it horizontal. So keeping this horizontal, and I have my finger over the end here. And then I'm gonna put it into the seal ease here. And I do that about 2 or 3 times. I poke it into the seal ease. I give it a little poke with my thumb there. Please keep in mind that these are glass tubes. I don't want you to hurt yourself. So you do want to clean off the tube. One, that'll help when you're evaluating the plasma. When we separate the red blood cells down here, we'll have a buffy coat that has the platelets and the white blood cells. And then your plasma, the liquid portion of the blood, will be up here. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this one right here. Grab my blood sample. You do want to make sure that it gets mixed. Before you do your next one, you just rock it back and forth. My finger over the top here. When I set it into the blood tube, I take my finger off of it. Sometimes you have to gently just kind of rotate it. Wait for it to be 2/3 to 3/4 of the way full. Set my blood tube down there. I do give it a quick wipe here with the chem wipe, and then you want to take your seal ease here, and then you put some in the seal ease. At this point, I put my 2 fingers, my thumb and my pointy finger, off to the side. So you want a nice amount of seal ease there. We only seal up one end of it. So let me put this guy over here. Now we're going to take our 2 hematocrit tubes that are full of blood. You can see the one is already starting to settle. That's how quickly the horse blood kind of separates. So we're going to take these to the AI lab room. Here is the centrifuge we use for our hematocrit tubes. It's especially made for it. It spins it at the right RPMs. So this is the lid. You lift this up. It has a secondary lid. You twist it off here, and then I just kind of set that up here. It does have this rim. Looks like it's a little dirty. So it has this rubber rim here. I'll make sure that that's set. So it's also numbered in here. So 1 to 24. When you're setting these guys in here, you want to have the seal ease towards the outside. So the seal ease towards the outside, the opening towards the inside, and you want them to be across from each other. So there we go. We're at 1 and 13. 1 and 13. So the next thing I do is I put the lid back on. So here's the handle up here. Never put it on like this. Oh my. You put it on like this. You always want to make sure that you put this on. I just kind of hold on to it, and then you just want to do hand tight. So you don't need to go all Incredible Hulk on us. Just hand tight. We turn the machine on. We shut this lid so it locks, and then you spin the blood for 3 to 5 minutes. So 3 to 5 minutes. So this is set to spin at 10,000 RPMs, and we're going to set it for 3 minutes. Okay, so the centrifuge has stopped. To open it up, you just kind of push down and then it pops up. You never want to stop a centrifuge with your hands. You never want to open it while it's still running. Those are poor things to do. So you want to twist this top off, and I set it up there. You do want to, if there's several of them running, you want to make sure that you remember which numbers are which, write it down. And you can see how the red blood cells are packed down here. We'll see the buffy coat here. It's just a small little thing. You'll have to look closely at it. And it's the red, the white blood cells and the platelets are in the buffy coat. And then you have your plasma up here. So this is your plasma, your buffy coat, platelets and white blood cells, and then your red blood cells are packed down here. So let's come over here to our workstation. I usually work on a paper towel or something like that, just to help keep my work area clean. So here are my 2 tubes. And the first thing we're gonna do PCV. So what you do here is you take the tube and you want to line up the bottom of where the red blood cells meet the CLEs, needs to be on the 0. And then the top, this little bubble here, is called a meniscus, and that needs to be at the top. So you have to roll it until you get them both lined up at the exact same time. So your CLEs and your red blood cells have to be on 0. Your bubble here, the meniscus, needs to be at 100. And at the same time, so I think we're there. We're pretty close. So then you read right where the red blood cells meet the buffy coat. So you don't want to include the buffy coat in your number. So you want to read right below the buffy coat where the buffy coat meets the red blood cells. So I kind of come over here. I see this is 40 here. So I'm going to follow it down. These go by 2s. So I think it's about 38 or 36. I'm doing this upside down. So I'm going to say 36. Okay. So my first one is 36. Let's do the second one to see if it's the same. If they're way off, well, you did something wrong and you'll need to redo it. So let's line up between the CLEs and the red blood cells on the 0. And then you want to get your meniscus, that bubble, at the top line here. All right, and then we read, so it says 40 here, you follow it back down. It looks like it's 36. So our packed cell volume is 36%. So that's how we measure that. I write it down. So PCV, packed cell volume, equals 36%. And we are working on KC. So the paper towel is a 2-part thing. It helps to keep my workstation clean, and I can write down my numbers in case I get distracted or have to go help somebody do something.